It's karate time. Oh yes, we are back, baby, and I can't wait to talk about this. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my Netflix series review for Cobra Kai Season 4. And if this is your first time finding me and you happen to like the video, please give me that thumbs up and consider subscribing. All right, guys, like I said, we are back for Cobra Kai Season 4. And if you could not tell already, I am super duper excited to talk about this. I'm a big fan of this show, this series. I was a big fan of the movies when they came back originally in the 80s. Even though I was born in 84, I saw the original a number of years later and I fell in love with it. And that is why I'm back for this Netflix series. And I remember when they first started marketing for the show, it was on YouTube because it debuted on YouTube before Netflix. I was just saying to myself, wow, this is such a desperate attempt. Does Hollywood just not have any more ideas, fresh ideas? Can they not give us anything new? This is ridiculous. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of resources. They could be taking all this time and energy and putting it to something else. But I am glad to say that I am wrong. I was super duper wrong. I love season 1. I love season 2. And like each season gets better and better and better as they go along. And one of the great things about this show and what makes season 4 so great is just that nostalgia factor right there. I mean, they are bringing everybody back from the old movies from 84, from 86 to 89, and even 1994 with Hilary Swank, the next Karate Kid that had Miyagi in there. We don't even know if she's going to pop up, but I hope that she does. Now, what makes this series great is I want to get into all of that, but before I do, let me tell you exactly what it's all about. 30 years after their final confrontation at the 1984 All-Valley Karate Tournament, Johnny Lawrence is at rock bottom as an unemployed handyman hunted by his wasted life. However, when Johnny rescues a bully kid, Miguel, from bullies, he is inspired to restart the notorious Cobra Kai dojo. However, this revitalization of his life and related misunderstandings finds Johnny restarting his old rivalry with Daniel LaRusso, a successful businessman who may be happily married but is missing an essential balance in his life since the death of his mentor, Mr. Miyagi. Meanwhile, even as this antipathy festers, it finds itself reflected in their proteges as Miguel and his comrades are gradually poisoned by Cobra Kai's thuggish philosophy. Meanwhile, Daniel's daughter, Samantha, finds herself in the middle of this conflict amidst false friends. Johnny's estranged miscreant son, Robbie, finds himself inadvertently coming under Daniel's wings and flourishes in worthy of Mr. Miyagi. Now, of course, if you've been watching the show, you already know all of that, but that is just a brief synopsis of the show if you are watching this non-spoiler review. One of the first things that I love about the show, this series and season 4 is like, it is a last hoorah, in my humble opinion, for a lot of these returning actors coming back to this franchise. Like I said before, and everybody knows, the original Karate Kid came out in 84, and then 86 was part 2, and I think in 89 was part 3. And let me just double check the year. 1984 was part 1. Part 2 was 86 and part 3 was 1989. So it was some time ago, over 20 and 30 years. And so we have all these characters that just keep on coming back. And one of the best things, one of the best characters about this season 4 is they brought back the character of Terry Silver, played by Thomas Ian Griffith. I am not too familiar with this gentleman. The only other property I know him from is the Karate Kid Part 3 that came out in 1999. He has over 32 credits and I haven't seen him in anything else, but I did love him in the Karate Kid Part 3 and I did love him in Cobra Kai Season 4. This guy is phenomenal. I mean, I loved everything about him and I'll get to all the action in just a little bit, but when they first brought his character back, I mean, of course, he is not the same guy that he was in 1989. He has grown, he has matured, and Kreese is coming up to this man just trying to recruit him. And what I like what they did with the story and his character is he wasn't just some old man just trying to relive the past and the glory days like, yes, we got to go get revenge. He's like, no, he wanted to approach this in a constructive way, something that could benefit the people. Like, okay, hey, if you want to reopen the karate tournament, we can do this, but hey, we have to learn from our mistakes from the past. We cannot repeat the same things we did before that made us fail. And I love that. I respect that wholeheartedly. And that is one of the things early on in this series, I think it happened in episode 1, that really got me to the edge of my seat and got my blood flowing from this, because I don't want to see the same repeat of what we got in the 90s or in the 80s. I don't want to see that. I want to see a continuation of it and just them keeping it fresh and new. And they were able to do that in a nice, creative way. And another great way they're able to bring in his character is, if you saw the previous first 3 seasons, we know that Kreese came from Vietnam. He was a soldier, and we got a number of flashbacks throughout those seasons, throughout those episodes. That's the same thing that we get in season 4 as well. But when we are also getting those flashbacks of Vietnam, we're also getting the addition of Terry Crews. And that just adds a little bit more to the story, a little bit more to their characters that wasn't present in the 80s. And that's just them continuing the story, and they also expanding on it as well, giving us something that we've never gotten before. I love that. I mean, it's a 10 episode series. It's really short. They're about 30 minutes each, so you can binge all of them really, really quick in an evening if you wanted to. So that's dope too. And what's really exciting about this is everything is escalating. The first 3 seasons, for the most part, there was only 2 dojos. You had Miyagi-Do, which was ran by Daniel LaRusso, and then you also have Cobra Kai, that was ran by Johnny Lawrence. Now we have, it's completely different. We have 3 different schools. We have Miyagi-Do, Cobra Kai, and also Eagle Fang. Kreese has taken over Cobra Kai, and Johnny Lawrence is now over Eagle Fang. And with all that mixed up, you really have no idea how it's going to play out, how it's all going to go down, how it's all going to end. And that's just what makes it exciting. It's a guessing game, and you really just have to figure this puzzle out before the time clocks run out. And that's just what I'm here for. And another thing, we have students in these karate schools that are just going back and forth, switching teams, like, okay, this is not right. You guys are doing wrong. You guys are evil. We should be living this way. I can't mess with you anymore. I have to go over here. But then you have other people over here that want to go over here because they feel that they're not tough enough. And it's really no right or wrong answer. You really just have to get in where you fit in. And that's just also a nice reflection of life. I like that right there. You also have the same thing with the adults and the karate senseis. They're not always getting along either. I mean, they beef as well. And there's sometimes where Kreese and Terry would bump heads and get into it. Of course, there's times when Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso were getting into it as well. And I love all of that. And let's get to the action and the fighting. The fighting in this, they stepped it up. Now, I will go ahead and say, out of all the Cobra Kai seasons, we're in season 4 right now, the choreography and the fighting has not been the best. I'm not just going to sit here and lie and say, oh my gosh, this is some of the best martial arts choreography out there. But if you think about it and you want to be honest, even going back to the original 1984 Karate Kid movie, the martial arts choreography wasn't that great either. I mean, it wasn't trash, but it wasn't the best thing in the world. You know, I'm just going to be honest with you. But that's not what made the show great. What made the show great is digging down deep within yourself and just fighting your fears, being courageous, and just going after it all. Just trying to overcome all of the BS and just be the best version of yourself. Just believing in yourself and giving it all you got 100%. I mean, that's just what it is, you know, not being afraid. That is the main theme line from the 1984 original movie. And that theme line is still present in Cobra Kai season 4. And that's also displayed in the fighting. Now, I'm not going to lie. There were a few sprinkles of cringe-worthy karate in this season. I mean, I remember one fight between 2 of the students when they were about to go down. One of them started the fight out with a random cartwheel that had nothing to do with nothing. I mean, like if somebody would have did this in real life, they would have been knocked out and woke up in heaven. It was just so ridiculous, and it was cringe. Where it was like, oh my gosh, like what the hell are you doing? So there was a few of those in this series, in this season, but only a few. The rest of the fighting was dope as hell, especially when we get to the last 2 episodes when they have the final showdown between all of the karate dojos. Man, that was dope as hell. They really sat down and worked that out and was practicing all the forms and all the moves and just making sure that everything was tight and organized. And I loved it. It was very entertaining. It wasn't just some dance. I mean, and it felt real too. And like I keep saying, this is my 3rd or 4th time. I had no idea how this was going to end, and I absolutely loved how it ended as well. I mean, whether you're a child or you're an adult, you can still learn so much of how all these characters interacted with each other. And let's just talk about the characters. Like, I found myself loving pretty much all of the characters in this season, even some that I did not like before. I mean, everybody: Daniel LaRusso, Johnny Lawrence, Terry Silver, Kreese, Miguel. I mean, I love Samantha, Hawk. And I never even liked Talk. Dimitri in this, you know, the corny guy, but he ended up getting a hot girl. That's funny as hell. I mean, I can go down. I really like every character. And what's great about this series, this season, is it's not just about the fighting. They actually take a good amount of time to develop each character and show what they're going through in their own personal life. There's this new guy in this series. He was like a little black boy. And when he was introduced in the middle of the season, it was kind of like an offshoot. I was like, okay, why are we spending so much time with this person? It's kind of random, but then they circle back around and show how they tied that in with another character that popped up in Cobra Kai like seasons 2 and 3. And it was a little jarring at first, but if you're patient, I like what they did with it. And it just really goes to show these are very young, impressionable teenagers, and just shows how when they're growing up in adolescence, how they can be steered one way or the other just from a philosophy of a dojo. That's just crazy to me. I mean, you have Cobra Kai, Eagle Fang, and Miyagi-Do, all completely 3 different philosophies. And like, it's just all different. You know, which one are you going to fit in? Which one benefits you the most? Or will you benefit the most if you learn 2 out of the 3 or all 3? You're going to be a super badass by the end. And this season explores all of that. And I loved it. Even another thing that I love about this series is how they address conflict resolution. And a lot of times we in life always kind of assume that the adults are always right in a situation. And of course, that's not always the case. But you will have certain adults dealing with their students in this series to where they're being a great sensei. They bring a great adult. They bring a great student, just a great upstanding person, leading this student down the right path, the right way, exactly the way that they should. But when that same adult is dealing with another student for a slightly different issue, they're going about it the completely wrong way. And that's just like the dynamic right there. That this dilemma is just really speaking to me, because it's just like, wow, you know, like, none of this is easy. Just like life in itself is not easy. Raising children, trying to be a teacher, trying to be an instructor, trying to be a principal, trying to be a dojo master, all that. I mean, it's just really difficult because you can be doing the exact right thing with one student, and then you try that with another student, and it's just completely wrong, and how it can just blow up in your face. And there are so many great examples of that throughout this entire season. And my only other nitpicks is I was really loving Terry Silver's character throughout this whole season. I mean, he really seemed like a grown, mature, disciplined man that had a plan of action that he was trying to take on. But later on in the season, I want to say like episode 6 or 7, he had a complete character shift. He started doing some things, making some decisions where it really just didn't make sense to me. And I was like, okay, why are you doing this to this character? He was so great, but now he's kind of falling below the waistline here. I really don't understand that there. And the same thing with Kreese. It was just kind of random. But other than that, I love this character. But one of the things that I really like is when the adults, the teachers, the senseis, when they're fighting, you know, physically, doing their karate, different styles, that was pretty much the most entertaining for me throughout the entire season. I love that because they are really getting down. They show that they got it. They show that they have not missed a step. And I like that. I like that. Because as men, I mean, pretty much when everybody gets older, you want to know if you still got it. And they want to know if they still got it. And some of them, they still got it. And I'm entertained by it a lot, big time. Also, guys, I talked about a few cringy moments earlier, but also this show is corny as hell. I mean, this is one of the corniest TV shows, movies, pieces of entertainment that I have ever seen in my life. And there is nothing wrong with it. I love it. I am embracing the corniness. If you are not a corny person, this show is not for you. Bring on the corniness they did. And that's another great thing about this season too. I mean, corniness level 9,000. And of course, I talked about all the callbacks. That's wonderful. And just another great theme line within this show, within this season, is this just teaching these young students about survival and just kind of just doing what you have to do, you know, to make it through until the very end. And I can do nothing but respect that. I also just like the ending. I talked about the fighting, how great that was. I love the final showdown at the All Valley tournament. Just like the whole environment of the show. I love that the whole entire town is engaged in this karate debut, you know, them bringing this to the forefront. And it's just a thing, you know, like, you know, the local soccer tournament, a basketball tournament. I mean, this is a karate tournament and everybody is engaged. I mean, like I started out this video, there's a black guy that is the announcer at one of the tournaments and he is just so enthusiastic. It's karate time. And everybody is just like, yeah. And that's how I am at home. I'm laughing like, oh yeah, let's do this. Like, it's karate time. Yeah. I mean, I actually did that on my couch and I was laughing and yelling and hooting and hollering throughout this whole thing. And like this show even breaks the fourth wall overall with the silliness, it's like, okay, let's just have some of these adults being the silliest that they possibly can be when they're in a board meeting or whatever, trying to vote on how to proceed with the tournament and the rules and regulations. It's funny. It's even racist sometimes, the jokes that they kind of make, and will make you chuckle. You probably like, Brenda, there's nothing funny about racism. Just watch the series and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But guys, this is a 2 thumbs up for me. If you have a Netflix account, watch this show. If you like fighting, corniness, and just overall great entertainment, if you like the Karate Kid from the 80s and 90s, check this show out. It's a lot of fun. I had a blast with it. But guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this show, and I think you will too. And I'll go ahead and give my rating at the end. But if you did like this video, please go ahead and give me the thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel and help me reach 35,000 subscribers. And why would you want to subscribe to my channel? Well, let me go ahead and tell you why. You will get the latest movie reviews, also spoiler reviews. You will get a weekly movie news roundup show to where I compile all of the weekly movie and entertainment news, talk about it on a live show every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. CST on my channel. And I also bring a bunch of guests and we just chop it up and act silly. So make sure you subscribe and come back for that. You'll get trailer reactions. Also, me doing lives and recaps on my latest favorite TV shows like Insecure just ended. We're also in the middle of Power Book 2 Go Season 2, Hawkeye, and a number of other things. So those are just a brief number of things you can get if you subscribe to my channel. But guys, if I had to rate Cobra Kai Season 4 out of a 1 out of 10, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Yes, a 9 out of 10. But guys, again, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.